The votes from SEC Media Days are in, and the Auburn Tigers have been predicted to finish 11th in the conference. Fair or foul? Let's discuss it on this edition of the Uptempo Podcast. Let's go, everybody. Welcome into the Uptempo Podcast. As always, I am your host, Dustin Smith. And guys, it is just a little over a month before our Auburn Tigers kick the season off on a Friday night in Waco, Texas versus the Baylor Bears. I can't wait. We're so close that we have a little preseason poll to talk about, some all SEC preseason teams to discuss. Auburn had a couple guys on the first team, nobody on the second team, and a good amount of guys on the third team. So we'll get into all that, man. As you guys know, SEC Media Days was last week in Atlanta. Everyone that attends gets to vote, or the media anyway, gets to vote on how they think the SEC race is going to pan out, the predicted order of finish. So we're going to get to that, and then also to the all SEC teams. Man, excited to get in here and discuss this with you guys. Before we get started, do me a favor, share this thing out on social media. Tag me at DMcShaw28. Tag the War Report Podcast Network. Hashtag level up. Go ahead and smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up how I voted, and then I'm going to pull up the overall results of the media polling. So just kind of pull up how I voted first, predicted order, finish in the SEC. I'll read them out, and then I'll walk you guys through my reasoning. Texas in the 1 spot, Georgia at 2, LSU at 3, Ole Miss at 4, Bama at 5, South Carolina at 6, Texas A&M at 7, Florida at 8, Tennessee at 9, Missouri at 10, Auburn at 11, Oklahoma 12, Arkansas number 13, Vandy at 14, Mississippi State 15, and I have Kentucky at 16. I am just not a believer in what they got going on in Lexington, Kentucky this year. So why I have Texas over Georgia and pick Texas to win the SEC championship game. Every team has questions, right? There's no clear-cut favorite in the SEC this year. To be honest, I'm a big fan of Garrett Nussmeier. I think that Brian Kelly is a good coach. I wanted to pick LSU, but 4 out of 5 starters returning on that offensive line for LSU, and I trust Brian Kelly. Same thing at Texas, 4 out of 5, but I trust Sark just a little bit more. I think Arch Manning is a good quarterback. I understand that there's this big hype machine, and that kind of turns people off, but that doesn't mean the kid's not a good quarterback. So I gave these top 3 were really, really tough for me. I feel like Texas, Georgia, and LSU are kind of a step above everybody else. They feel like the top tier in the conference this year to me. So I just think Arch Manning is good enough. I trust that Texas, even though they're replacing 4 or 5 starters up front, just like LSU is, I trust Texas' recruiting there. I trust their development there. And I trust that they have a head coach and a Stark that's going to put them in the best situation. They have the playmakers around a really good quarterback to get done what they need to get done. They're going to play good defense. They appear to be rolling right now. So I'm picking Texas. I'm a believer in Arch Manning combined with Steve Sarkisian. I think they're going to be great. Georgia, you have the obvious questions about Gunnar Stockton. But it's a talented roster, and I'm just rolling with Kirby. I'm rolling with Kirby Smart. I'm going to predict Georgia to be in the SEC championship more times than I'm not, because in college football and in the NFL, but you see it in college, just how big of a difference the head man makes, and I think Kirby's the best in the game. I think he'll find a way he always gets his team ready to play. And in the portal era, when you can have a team like Florida State one year win 13 games, the next year win 2, that's just not going to happen under Kirby Smart because of the kind of guys that he's going to recruit. Even if he kind of misses on a talent eval, he's going to have dogs. They're going to have dogs on that side of the ball. They mean that more ways than one over there, but in the important way. And guys that are going to get after it, and play with intensity and tenacity. That's what they recruit to Athens. So, and Kirby knows how to get that out of those guys. So until I see otherwise, I got Georgia in that 2 spot. And again, I really struggle to not put LSU there because I believe in Brian Kelly. I believe in the talent they put around there. I think that they've got a good defensive coordinator going into his second year there. I think they're going to take a big step on defense. They got some young guys, DJ Pickett or Prickett, however you say it, the young cat, the DB. I think he's going to be great. I loved him coming out of high school. He was just always kind of a heavy LSU lean. Auburn was never really in that. I think they got a lot of talent over there. Good DC. I think Brian Kelly, even though they replaced him 4 out of 5 starters on the offensive line, I think that Brian Kelly has shown time and time again that is a position group that he will have ready to go. He knows how to develop guys there. Love the O-line coach over there at LSU. So I just think that LSU is going to be a very, very formidable team this year. And you got to think, this is predicted order of conference finish. So even if they lose that game at Clemson week 1, that doesn't hurt LSU in the SEC standings. I think LSU is a playoff team this year and a dark horse to make a run to the national championship. I'm really high on them, but I got them in that 3 spot. Ole Miss, I like the quarterback they got coming in, Austin Simmons. I like what Lane Kiffin's done there. I mean, I hate some of his decisions on 4th down, the analytics and all that, but they win games. Did they underperform by a game last year? Sure they did, but it's still the best Ole Miss has ever been. And right now, when I kind of look around the landscape of the SEC, I think there's a separation there in that 1 to 3 spot with Texas, Georgia, and LSU. So as we look at that next tier, I trust Lane Kiffin a little bit more than these other coaches, and I like the talent that he has at quarterback. I know that he's going to he's just one of them guys, right? Like he's going to get good quarterback play. Whether the guy's even talented or not at quarterback, and I think they have one that is. Lane Kiffin's going to get production out of the quarterback position. I think they improved tremendously on defense last year. Does that translate to this year? Some losses on that side of the ball, but I think they're still going to be okay. I think they're building a culture on that side of the ball. They got some young guys, especially in that DB room. Guy in Dante Core, LaDarian Clarity. Those are really, really talented players. They might not be ready to contribute this year, but LSU's building something on the defensive side of. Ole Miss building something on that defensive side of the ball. I got them at 4. Alabama at 5. The quarterback, I don't know, but it's the name. It's Alabama. They still got a lot of talent. Kalen DeBoer's a good coach. How good is he? They're going to be an interesting team to watch this year. South Carolina at 6, Lenore Sellers, Shane Beamer. I love everything they got going on. I question their playmakers around Lenore a little bit. We'll see how that goes. But I like Shane Beamer. I think they're going to be a good team this year. A&M coming in there at 7, very talented, like Mike Elko. Schedule's a little bit difficult. Let's see how they navigate it. It's manageable for an SEC team, so I kind of got them there in the middle. A&M could be an 8-4, 9-3 type team again this year, similar to they were last year. They could be better than they were last year and still kind of fall in that range. Let's see how the young quarterback there develops and how all that goes. Another fun team to watch. UF is the one I struggle with. Florida, DJ Lagway, big believer. I think Billy Napier's a good coach. They've recruited talent all over that roster. That schedule is not as difficult as last year's. Well, I don't even know. It might be more. I don't know. It's right on par with last year's. Another very difficult schedule for Florida this year. So I got them in the middle there because I could see them going either way. I could see that schedule beating them up if they had some injuries and all that kind of stuff. I could also see them winning some of those tight games and then kind of taking off and Lagway just being that dude. And if you just had a guy that's that dude at quarterback, then even with a tough schedule, you're going to find a way to win it. We saw that in 2010 with Cam Newton, right? And I'm not saying DJ's going to be Cam. I'm just saying the effect that having a guy that's a first-round talent at quarterback can have on a college team. I got Tennessee at 9. I believe in Josh Heupel. I know they lost Nico, but they got a lot of talent there. Heupel will find a way to get them to a 7-8 win range, possibly 9. That'd be maybe stretching it. We're kind of in that 8-win range now, right? Missouri, I like Drink, and I don't know why everyone's so down on Missouri this year. I know the roster's not as good. I think he finds a way to squeeze everything out of it. He's shown us that in his time at Missouri. There's a little bit of disrespect, in my opinion, kind of been aimed at Eli Drinkowitz. Auburn at 11. I'll get more into that in a second. OU at 12. I just got to see it from Brent. I got to see it from Brent Venables. Until I see it, I'm not going to believe it. I know they got a new OC coming in, Matier and all that. Washington State played a terrible schedule last year. I don't know how to judge that OC. I don't know how to judge John Matier. I got to see more of it. Talent there. It's Oklahoma. Jay Knott's a good back. We played him twice at Cal already, right? This is a massive game for Auburn when it comes up on the schedule. We'll see how it all goes for Oklahoma. I have a lot of questions. 2 out of 3 seasons, a losing year. And this is my thing on Brent Venables, man. Everyone says about Oklahoma, we've had this discussion with Jackson Arnold a lot, right? Everyone talks about how everything fell apart last year. Well, these guys got hurt and you didn't have depth and the OC wasn't. You're in your third. He was in his third year. So, like, some of that stuff's on him. Getting ravaged by injuries like that, okay, that's tough. But you picked that OC. You didn't have guys ready to go behind some of those guys that were injured. And again, it was an extensive amount of injuries, so I'll give him some leeway there. But still, man, that bowl game loss to Navy, I'm like, what am I watching here? You had a winning versus losing season on the line there. They came in at 6-6. They lost at the game to Navy. It was just pathetic. So I have a lot of questions about Oklahoma. Arkansas, I love Taylor Green. I absolutely love him. The rest of that roster feels like it's just not ready to compete in the SEC. They get guys out of the portal that kind of lost their spot at other SEC teams, and they don't recruit in the top, half of the conference. So it's a tough deal there. At secondary, it might be rough going for that secondary. They might just be a step behind a lot of these SEC wide receiver rooms. Love the quarterback, though. I think that kid's got all the talent in the world. I think he's a great college quarterback. Vandy at 14, I like the culture they've built there. I wonder if all this offseason buzz for Diego Pavia, to me, it feels a little over warranted. It doesn't feels a little overblown. He's a good player, man. The touchdown to interception ratio was great. But the hype to me just kind of doesn't match the play on the field. I know it's going to come off as sour grapes because Auburn's lost to him twice in a row, but Vanderbilt and Diego completed under 45% of their passes. It was not Diego Pavia that beat Auburn in Jordan last year. Sure, at New Mexico State, in that game he put on the show when he was with New Mexico State. But look, still, Vanderbilt, they're not going to be in the top half of the conference in talent. I think Clark Lee, anytime any coach can get Vanderbilt to 6 wins, you're a good coach. You've done a good job. But are they going to do that again? Some big-time wins last year, some close games that they were able to pull out to even get them to that bowl game. Still a loss to Georgia State. So I just, I don't know. I can see Vandy falling back down to like a 4-win situation this year. Mississippi State at 15 and Kentucky at 16. Those guys will battle it out. There's not much to talk about there. So why Auburn at 11? As we sit here today, and you guys know that I will not give an official schedule and record prediction until much closer into the season, or closer till the season starts. So probably about 3 weeks to a month, we'll get that in, right? I'll wait till there's about a week left of fall camp before I get my official Auburn prediction up. I've predicted 8-4 the last 2 years and fallen miserably short both times. For me, I look at the schedule, and right now I'm in that somewhere between 7 or 8 win range. And this is what I'll say and why I think Auburn is at number 11. Spent the first 2 days at SEC Media Days last week. Talked to a lot of people off camera, off air, and just kind of discussing their teams, guys, from all over the different, covering different teams in the conference. Talked with other Auburn personalities, right? And everyone kind of seems to have the same feelings towards Auburn. People acknowledge the talent. Keldrick Falk is a major first-round buzz. Has major first-round buzz. Everyone knows if he has the year that he is capable of having, he could be a top 10 pick. No one's even shy about saying that at this point. It's universally acknowledged. Cam Coleman, Eric Singleton, everyone knows those names. Everyone knows what they're capable of. Everyone that I've talked to, like Cam Coleman, though. That Cam Coleman's a freak, though. That Cam Coleman. So the talent is there. Connor Lew represented the Tigers well at SEC Media Days. Could be a first, second-round pick in the NFL draft next year if everything goes well for him. Just talked about Keldrick Falk, who was there as well. Those guys are walking around doing interviews. The media is getting a feel for them. They know, man. They know these guys are talented. So that the big question comes up to, and Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze, right? And we all know this, man. We've talked about it all summer, but that's kind of why everyone is sitting at Auburn saying there's talent on the roster, but no one wants to go out on a limb and predict Auburn to be a dark horse, and no one really wants to go out on a limb and predict Auburn to suck. It feels like it's very much wait-and-see mode. It feels like everyone is very much, well, show me something, Auburn. We see it on paper. Now put it all together for 4 quarters on the field. Hugh Freeze, manage the game appropriately, get out of your own way, and bring a dub home. If you have to run the ball that day to secure the dub, do it. If you have to throw it all over the yard that day, do it. Just find a way to bring it home. Clean up the in-game management. And there can't be the Peyton Thorne, Hugh Freeze mismatch. That can't be this Jackson Arnold and Hugh Freeze situation, right? They've got to mesh well. And that was kind of the overall feeling that I got from all of the media members in Atlanta that voted in this poll was Auburn has high potential. It also could kind of go bad. So no one really wants to go one way or the other with Auburn. And I feel the same way. I mean, again, I'm sitting between a 7-5, 8-4 prediction right now because you just got to see it, man. 4 losing seasons, all that stuff. We don't need to get into it on this episode, but there's just a lot there. And there's just these in-game mistakes from the head coach. You got to see it. And everyone on the Jackson Arnold front, everyone acknowledges that with Jackson Arnold, what happened at Oklahoma last year, but that also makes him an unknown. He's just much as an unknown as Auburn is an unknown, right? Because everyone can acknowledge that he was in a bad situation at Oklahoma. Okay, he didn't play well, but he wasn't in a good situation either. Not a lot of quarterbacks, if any, could have played well in that situation. Okay, well, that makes him an unknown. Super talented kid. You have some toughness and some athletic ability on film in the Alabama game. You have some mistakes, and him having to get benched in other games. So it's kind of you shrug your shoulders and you say, we'll see. And if you're an unknown, a we'll see type team in the SEC, you're probably going to fall around that 9 to 11 range as far as predictions go. You're kind of in the middle there. Like everyone wants to see what's going to happen with this one. It's a very, very hard team to predict. So I wasn't surprised when I got the email showing me the overall results. One, because I voted Auburn in 11th and I cover Auburn and follow Auburn just as closely as anybody does, right? So if all of us or somebody like me that thinks, right now I can't put Auburn any higher than 11th, but still have them over teams like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Vandy, Mississippi State, and Kentucky, I didn't really agree with the Missouri being down as far as they were. So real quick, we'll get over here and take a look at how the media voted and at the rest of the conference. I have Auburn at 11th and the media had Auburn at 11th, but let's take a look at how the rest of the SEC media voted the conference is going to play out. So Texas came in first, Georgia came in second, the same way that I had it. Alabama third, LSU fourth, South Carolina fifth, Florida sixth. A lot of people high on Florida and that talent that they have over there. I think a lot of that too is people really believe in DJ Lagway. I'm interested that Florida came in over Ole Miss. You've seen more from Lane Kiffin at this point, but I get it, DJ Lagway. Ole Miss, then Texas A&M, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Auburn, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi State. So I want to focus in on this real quick. Let's say this plays out. Auburn at 11, Vanderbilt, though, at 12th. Missouri at 12th. Well, Auburn plays Missouri. If Auburn finishes ahead of Missouri, you would think most likely a win there, right? Auburn plays Vanderbilt. Auburn plays Arkansas, and Auburn plays Kentucky. So the 4 teams that make up 12th, 13th, 14th, and 15th underneath Auburn plays all of them. 2 of them at home, 2 of them on the road. So we've talked about all summer that second stretch of the season and how Auburn can go on a little bit of a streak. If it plays out this way, this kind of fits into that narrative, right? To where even if Auburn is the 11th team in the SEC, they could still finish with a 4-4. If this played out this way, this would have Auburn going 4-4, right? In that 4-4 range in the Southeastern Conference. With a win at Baylor, that gets you to 8-4. Then it just makes that Baylor swing game super important. So, and that's if it went chalk. And we know college football never goes chalk. But it is interesting to see even Auburn at 11. The rest of the SEC media feels like 4 of Auburn's opponents are still underneath Auburn. Georgia number 2, Alabama number 3. That's always going to be that daunting task. And then Oklahoma right ahead of Auburn. That really just feels like a swing game, right? No one really knows what to make of Oklahoma either. Oklahoma coming in 10th on the list. So a lot of teams in Auburn's range in this here preseason poll, I guess you could call it, prediction, conference prediction. A lot of teams in Auburn's range that Auburn plays on the schedule. So could be a lot of toss-up games. Can Auburn find a way this year to win those games? And we got some players that might help out. Alex McPherson, third team All-SEC. A field goal kicker can help you win some close games. So let's get over here and talk about some of these guys that round out the All-SEC preseason team for our Tigers. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do y'all think about the way that I voted? Tell me if I'm dumb, if you love my list. If you hate it, let me know. And then what do you think of the way that the overall polling from the SEC media in Atlanta last week panned out? Do you agree with it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments. All right, so the all SEC preseason teams also got voted on, and here are the Auburn Tigers that made the list. All SEC first team: Cam Coleman and Keldrick Falk. No surprise there. Third team: Alec McPherson, Connor Liu, Xavier Chaplin, and Eric Singleton. So on Keldrick and Cam Coleman being the first teamers, everyone's expecting a big year from Cam Coleman. This should be. He really came on strong in that second half of his freshman season. You're looking at this offense. Hugh Freeze historically has always had a receiver go for big yardage. Last year, that was Keandre Lambert-Smith. It just feels like a healthy Cam Coleman this year should be able to take that next step. And it feels good that we all feel that way, but everyone else around the SEC is also looking at him and saying, that's a dude. That's a dude. He's one of the best receivers in the SEC. Auburn with a first team preseason all SEC wide receiver. Hype. Preseason hype around Auburn wide receiver room. You never, ever get tired of it, man. It feels good. And then Keldrick Falk, talked about him ad nauseum. We know what he is. Could be top 10 pick. Could be top 5 pick. Like I mentioned earlier, man, everyone around Atlanta all week, agreed. Keldrick Falk's that dude. Breakout season coming. First round guy. He'll be out of Auburn after this year. And that would be mission complete. You get that flip from Florida State. You bring him in. Let him go do his thing 3 years, and he goes to the league in the first round. That was always the mission for Keldrick Falk, the ability to pull that off, and to pull that off with like multiple D-line coaching changes in his time. You got to love it, man. Shout out to Hugh Freeze and just the what he's building. It's one thing to recruit these guys, then you got to go develop them. So high expectations for these two young men, and they've earned it. And then Alex McPherson, third team, I think that's pretty good that he's still getting this love considering that he only played in one game last year. We all know what went on with his stomach situation and the issues with that. He's back. He's healthy, and everyone's expecting a big year from him. I think we should. I think he's going to be back to the old Alex McPherson. I think a lot of those issues that you had last year in the kicking game, you won't have to worry about it this year. And with a better kicker last year, Auburn makes a bowl. Still would have lost some of those games you shouldn't have lost, most likely, but still, man, some of those games would have played out a little bit differently, and Auburn at least would have got 1 or 2 more wins and made a bowl if they would have had a field goal kicker that they depended on and could trust to put the ball through the upright. So having McPherson back this year would be massive. And then Connor Liu, I thought Connor did an awesome job. He came through and sat down with us at the Warport early on, sat down with my guy Ike Jones and did a great interview. So go check that out if you haven't. And you just kind of watch Connor's confidence in being in front of the media built throughout the day. I got some questions in with him talking about those young guys on that offensive line and him kind of just being comfortable being that leader, taking that next step into that leadership role this year on that offensive line, kind of getting everybody set up. So, and then when we talk about that left tackle and Xavier Chaplin, big time portal edition. A lot of schools wanted him. One of the best tackles in the ACC the past couple of years. Can he make that transition to a little bit of a higher step up in competition in the SEC? I believe he can. He's got NFL draft buzz as well. That would be great for Auburn if you were able to bring in a left tackle from a ACC school and then get him to take that next step. You can sell that in the portal. Next time you're going to got to go get a big tackle, right? Hey, look what we did with Xavier Chaplin. So third team all SEC honors for Xavier Chaplin and then Eric Singleton. We've seen what he was his first 2 years at Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech had a sneaky good season last year, and that offense was really explosive. Eric Singleton, a big part of that. The 4.2 speed, the secret is out. Eric Singleton's fast. Everyone knows it. So him getting third team as well. Look, I saw a couple of people. I want to make this point real quick. I saw a couple of people saying guys like Jay Crawford, Caleb Harris, Malik Blockton not getting any love. They didn't like that. And they felt like maybe Jay Crawford and Caleb Harris could have snuck in on that third team or something. One, there is a lot of talented DBs in the SEC. And it's so hard to know all these names, and you remember a lot of them from recruiting, but it's just hard to keep up with 16 teams and know everybody on those teams, especially when we're so invested in everything going on with Auburn, right, and the teams that Auburn plays. This offseason, I've focused obviously mainly on Auburn and some of the teams that Auburn plays. Some of these teams that Auburn doesn't play, I don't know a whole lot about. So it is difficult. So keep that in mind with these lists, and once you get down to third team, it really gets tough. But I'm gonna say this: if you look at their trajectory, Jay Crawford, Caleb Harris, Malik Blockton, a guy like DeMarcus Riddick could fit into this as well. A lot of freshmen that got playing time about halfway through the season last year, right? That reminds me of Connor Lew. Connor Lew came in 6-7 games in. I believe it was the 7th game. It was his first start. I think he came in halfway through the 6th game when Avery Jones got hurt. Connor came in. We saw he was a dog in that second half of the season. We saw how good of a football player he was. So then when he came into his sophomore year, everyone had high hopes and high expectations. But there wasn't a lot of preseason buzz around him because he still only had played a handful of games in the Southeastern Conference. So people in the know are watching and they're looking and they know that this guy can play some football, but now it's time to put a full season of tape together. Put it on tape for a full year that you're that guy. In the same way that Connor Lew left no doubt. Strong debut halfway through his freshman season. Sophomore year was great. Leaves no doubt. I'm the guy. He's coming into his junior year, going to SEC Media Days, representing his university, and getting NFL draft buzz, right? 3rd team all preseason SEC, and that might be a little low. I don't know. I have to watch. We'll pay attention to the 2 guys that were in front of them. They're good football players, but I think Connor's the best in the SEC. And I am biased, but still, it's close. Like I said, 2 football players in front of them they're good too. But man, Connor's a guy. Connor's a guy. Let's see the postseason list. I bet Connor may be a little bit higher up than 3rd team. But when I look at those guys, Jay, Caleb, and Malik, and DeMarcus Riddick, and those kind of guys, that's where I see them at. Put it on tape for a full year. Take that next step. If they play like they did last year, all those guys will be on at least 13 preseason All-SEC next year. If they do what they did last year, you ain't got to worry about it. People recognize lockdown corner like Jay Crawford. He does it for a whole year. He'll get the buzz. Caleb Harris, a safety that can change the game. He'll get the buzz. Malik Blockton, big defensive lineman that can change the game. Consistent. He'll get the buzz. DeMarcus Riddick, he's already got some buzz. So if he can put it all together and kind of round out all that talent that he's got and become that complete football player, you know what DeMarcus Riddick can be, man. So that's kind of where I sit on that. All those guys, they're close. They're there. People are paying attention. Now when people are paying attention, because when you come on the field as a true freshman, it's us Auburn fans know we followed their recruitment. We know what they're capable of. You still have the questions of are they ready to do it on the SEC level? But now that they've put it on, for half a season to 3/4 of a season, now the eyes of the rest of the SEC are looking at them and saying, okay, show me something. So big years coming up for those guys. We had a lot of sophomores this year that need to avoid that whole sophomore slump and take the next step. I like the coaches that we have on the roster. I think you've seen in guys like Hildreth Falk, like Cam Coleman, like Connor Lew. You've seen these guys develop in their time at Auburn. So, Keandre Lambert-Smith was a good receiver at Penn State. Look what Marcus Davis and Hugh Freeze got out of him last year. He had his best year ever at Auburn. So if you look all throughout the roster, you have a lot of good examples of development. I think all those guys on that defensive side of the ball are going to take a big jump under DJ Durkin coming up this season, and I'm excited to see it. Almost a month, guys, just a little over a month away. Man, these Saturdays are getting tougher and tougher without college football on the TV. Thank you guys for watching. Smash that thumbs up button. Sub to the channel if you haven't done already. Share this out on social media. And we got a big high school commitment date tomorrow. Got a big 4-star edge rusher that Auburn has been after for a while. Going to announce his commitment. Looking good for the Tigers, but you still got to bring it home. It's never over until it's over in today's recruiting landscape. If that commitment pops, we'll do a pod for you guys. We'll have a film breakdown for our members. Got a special film breakdown that I'm excited about with Auburn's last commitment coming up for you guys, man. I think y'all guys are going to like it. So stay tuned for that. Sign up for those memberships if you haven't already. Sub to the channel, all that good stuff. It's War Damn Eagle, baby. I'll see y'all next time. I'm out.